Hello and welcome to the Anime Club, everyone. Joining us today is Realm Shifter,
I'm so tired right now.
the Great Lord Vorn,
Should I be mad right now, or should I be happy?
the most important member, Seki, and Knick-Knack.
You just got Uno Reverso'd.
Oh my.
For everyone's information, I will not be doing a prevalent amount of speaking this time because I am calling in because I am currently in
He
lockdown.
just so happens to be phoning it in.
He is quarantined.
No, he's
But,
being shipped for like a box right now to the Antarctic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing the safe route.
With that being said, obviously you know approximately what time of the year that we're recording this, given that we are all dying.
Joking.
Yes, all of the above. Anyways, with that being said, this week our show was Domestic Nakanajo, or Domestic Girlfriend, for those of you who prefer the English, like plebes.
like Seki.
How eloquent, Vorn. With that being said, let's get started with the quick spoiler-free review, and I actually want to start with Realm Shifter and then Knick-Knack, because they actually have watched this before, and I think they like it. So let's start with Knick-Knack.
Oof, starting with me. Like is a very strong word, Seki.
I mean, you seemed so excited when it came out of the hat.
Excited is a little bit different from like. I tend to laugh at all the moments where things go horribly wrong for the characters that deserve it. But that's going to we'll get into that later. I like with air quotes this series. I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure because in some ways I like it, but it's got it's a series of highs and lows.
Fair. Realm Shifter?
I'd say I really don't know how like this show makes me feel, honestly. Like there are moments where I'm like, oh, okay, this is melodrama, and then there are moments where I'm just like, all right, stop what you're doing right now. Just no more. No more. I can't take it. It's a cringe.
Such was the general consensus of the comments inside the video on Verve. Most of them were like, I don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Lauren has eloquently expressed how he feels about this.
Mm-hmm. He wants to puke.
Would you like
everything.
to elaborate on that or just leave it?
And we'll get to it.
Yeah, so leave it like a dead fish. I had hopes. I am well known in the club as the one who enjoys watching trash reality TV and dramas, and for a moment it had me going. Like there were some moments of like soap opera kind of esqueness in the beginning. Then there was a suppository, so no. I think that's a good summation of both Vorn and I.
Yeah.
There are some funny things.
Yeah, there were some funny things. With that being said, let's move into the animation, music, art, OP, and ED segment.
Yes.
I mean, I'll start this with I know every time that we watch theme challenge videos, Knick-Knack always gets the opening when it comes up, Domestic Nakanajo. And I didn't particularly like the first half of the opening, but I like the second half.
Yes. The opening, in my opinion, is great. In fact, so much that despite it being tied to the show, I listen to it outside of it because it's actually a really good song.
Honestly, same. I have it in like a lot of playlists because I just love the wind up and then the like just when it picks up and then it slows back down by the end. I love it.
The opening is nice. I also like the use of music throughout the episodes. They do actually do that very nicely.
That one episode, the Spanish. So
I was gonna say there was some moments, like the first couple episodes where the background and music took like what could have been like a really serious scene and turned it into a Spanish soap opera, and I appreciated what it was.
Exactly.
kind of wish the series would do that a little bit more, where it's a little bit more self-aware about how cringe and trash it is.
Yeah, but I think overall none of us dislike the opening. We all
The opening is great. Sound direction was fine places, and sometimes it embraced its meme status.
Yeah,
I will say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said I didn't like the ED though.
I don't know if I like it, but I've heard it so much, and they always build right up to it before they go into the actual credits, that I have that opening little riff, like the da na 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 na, built like jammed into my head.
Last to watch this series, I always skipped the ED because I didn't really care for it. So the ED was a bit like underwhelming. So I didn't.
I'll say I know nothing beyond that, like build up, the wind up of the ED.
ED was okay.
It was there.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. In terms of like the the animation and art, I mean, I think I have the same comment I had about Noragami. It's not special in any way, but it's not bad.
It's just the modern animation.
Yeah.
Modern art.
Generic. I don't know if the manga is any different. Knick-knack?
It's fairly different. I will say this is more consistent than the manga in character design, but the manga has definitely got a very slightly different look to it.
The manga actually is a bit more like closer to like shoujo in terms of its drawing design. Even though it's still mostly actually like has a male demographic target. But it's like kind of like a mix of like a shonen, but with like the softer features of like a shoujo.
That's
when we get into the plot, I will bring up the manga because I did start reading it and it's different.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think if I took the art style, I could put it right next to maybe like 4 other anime that I watched this week, and it wouldn't have any significant differences. But I also wouldn't say that I disliked any of them. I mean, it's kind of what I define as like the art for that genre. Like the anime was very typical for a kind of like dramatic, like love-centered storyline like show. And it doesn't the anime itself didn't fall on either the side of shonen or shoujo. I think it's interesting that the manga was a little bit more shoujo-esque because I think that could have made the character designs pretty interesting. Especially because a lot of the male characters are quite effeminate.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But that's definitely an interesting comment. It kind of makes me want to go look later. I'll probably go look at like a couple more images than the few that Knick-knack showed me when I was begging for some signs of redemption in the series. Oh boy.
Seki, the redemption is unfortunately the manga.
But what about just in terms of like the animation quality? I mean, you guys would know more about that than me.
Honestly, I'm fine like with the animation quality. Like I think while it's not like what you said, like it's pretty average, there are some like things that they do that is kind of nice. Like sometimes they'll do things like with the color, like they did this in the OP where like certain parts of the of like characters were like highlighted, like whether it was their eyes or maybe their hair or something like that.
Yeah,
kind
the
of
OP
like the Nora
was,
opening.
Yeah, it was basically Nora opening the style-esque. As soon as you got onto the episodes, there wasn't anything really that extremely stood out to me.
I think the music behind some of the more serious moments that made them less serious is maybe it's like defining like that soap opera-esque like music additions occasionally is what set it apart from a lot of other shows for me.
Yeah.
But I think as a general consensus, like the art's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that says nothing about the content of the art.
Right.
Yeah.
Just the style.
Right. Now, before we get into that, I will say that unlike the anime, this show, the manga, was allowed to be a lot more uncensored.
I would assume
That's
so.
worse.
very glad that the anime was censored. Very glad.
Yeah. All right, so moving on then.
Yeah, so our next section, the themes, storyline, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
There's not really any theme to this. This is just...
Hold on.
this is...
If you don't think I haven't broken this down, figured something out here, you're completely wrong.
To see what you've pulled from this.
Well, while Nick Nack is prepping, I'm going to give my thoughts on the themes and storyline, which is, this was horrendous. This is, without a doubt, some of the worst written romantic subplots and subtext that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I read Shakespeare. Like, this viscerally made me hurt. Like, there were times when I didn't even want to look at the screen. And sometimes the characters were so out of character to what had been built up already. Like, there were literal scenes where if the characters had made any other action, I would have been, okay. But I was legitimately like, what the fuck? Because it just wasn't in their character.
Yes.
Like, it was so inconsistent.
And I think that's more so a remedy, or more so a problem of this anime, actually, because apparently to those that have read the manga, this actually gives more credence to like some of the actions that they take, because it actually fleshes out those characters more so than the anime did.
I've seen in some of the comments I read on the videos, because I was doing that so I didn't have to look at the screen. But in some I definitely did notice that in the manga they said that there would be comments about like, oh, this was like an entire like 4-week like long arc in the manga, and like there's reasoning and there's stuff behind it, and in the anime it just looks like it's like 2 days, like a flip in personality.
Right. So yeah.
I don't want to jump too far into it, but in that last episode, character... Oh, crap, my internet's unstable. I'm back.
Try speaking.
The points where the characters were at in the last episode took them like 15 chapters beyond where that episode was to reach.
Yeah.
And every time there was a montage, that was basically a full arc.
Which is unfortunate, because I feel like what was left out left a lot to be desired in the rest of the series, because you see quite frankly what I would call mercurial characters almost, where it just feels like they're completely changing their personalities or opinions in the space of like a single day or two perhaps.
Right.
With no real like lead up, build up, or explanation.
Yeah.
Which leads to like a certain inconsistency I felt in the storyline in particular. But it also left a lot of the themes unfulfilled. Like when it started on something that you would like count as like part of a certain theme, it would be like rushed through or unfinished or left like hanging in a lot of ways. So I mean, I can't really make a judgment on whether the themes or plot were good, because we didn't really see all of it. Like we got like the Spark Notes summary of like the storyline and themes.
I think this season would have been better as like a 24 episode anime than a 12 episode one.
Yeah, no matter how much I hate this. Yeah, like even I'll admit, I think I would have liked this a little bit more if it had been 24 episodes for us to watch.
Well, we would have only done 12 anyways, but we would have gotten more character development.
Out of the 12 that we did.
Yeah.
So, if I may say my piece.
Feel free.
One thing I noticed as I'm reading the manga, and this is before I get into the themes here, is that this is almost a full genre shift, because the anime plays things out a lot more like a drama, like a cheesy soap opera, and it doesn't do it exactly well. In the manga, because it's slowed down so much, it's slice of life, in all honesty. And then there's drama, like it builds up to the big dramatic moments. Whereas in the anime, it's like bam, bam, bam. Every episode, something's happening. There's one awkward situation that probably had chapters upon chapters being built up to.
Suppository.
Okay, that was just terrible animeism.
Now
we'll get to that when we get there.
Well, I mean, now that we're talking about like themes, storyline, that kind of thing, I mean, that was one that really threw me off, right?
Yeah.
Was that, I mean, I feel like they were setting up for like a plot line or a storyline of like her taking care of him, or him taking care of her when like she was sick, and like it seemed so like nice and kind of like brother sister, like, oh, I'll take care of you, I'll make sure your fever goes down. And then they're on a call with her mother and she's like, there's a suppository, make sure she takes it. She's like, oh, I can't stand up and take it, you're gonna have to put it in. And then we just see her ass, and then it's the next day and she's fine.
Yep.
Like, that's not how fevers work, A, and B, this is not the dark ages, we don't use suppositories anymore. For those of you that want to know what that is, go Google it. I'm not explaining it.
Well, we don't use suppositories for that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll be discussing the suppository scene a little bit more when we get into the tropes section.
Yeah, or just the characters, which I think at this point we've expressed what we feel about the plot lines.
Well, I haven't gone into the themes yet.
Oh, then get on it, because I was talking about themes too already.
Well, okay, so here's the one like most important thing to realize about the romantic subplot. In the grand scheme of things, it absolutely is the background in terms of theme. The themes on love, they go through those because it's all bad decisions. Obviously, there's no lesson to be taken from there outside of what not to do. What's at the forefront and is a little bit more focused on in the manga, from what I understand, is the writing thing. Remember that scene where the teacher asked the two students to kiss?
Yeah, and it's basically a subplot in the anime.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like right now, we are judging the anime, not the manga.
Right.
You know?
Well, yes, but this carries like all the way through to the final moments, and this is something lost in the anime, but it is what the anime was still trying to say.
It's just I don't really think it's fair for us to compare it to the manga at this point.
Yeah,
because we've kind of established that it's different.
I think it's not really different. It's just it cuts out a lot of the character development for the sake of drama.
Yeah, so I mean, in a way, it almost seems like a separate entity from the manga, and in that case, I feel like it should just be judged on its own.
This is still the anime.
It's still the same. It keeps the same theming though.
Oh yeah, but like that in itself is almost like a sub theme in the anime, at least, like the whole writing thing.
No, because that's the entire that's the ending is like blatantly, but even though it didn't build up very well, it is slapping you in this theme.
That's what I mean, like badly built themes around the plots. Like obviously we heard about the writing in episode 1, right? Like we talked about the writing, and the backstory between him and the teacher is about writing.
Yep.
And like the story that he's writing. But it almost seems so...
Well, the writing is a storyline, not the theme. The theme is on the nature of how you write something well. You need the experiences of it. You'll notice in the anime, he didn't write anything like what he wrote pre like everything going down was crap. And it didn't win the award. It lost to Rui, who had never written anything before.
Yeah.
And he only was able to write something that was able to like win that competition, and he was only able to write work that was well written once he had actively understood people's emotions. That's right down to and that's the thing, it's understanding it's emotional maturity and how that affects the decisions and the your understanding of the world.
Well, I mean, I get that, and I see it. It's just the anime really trivializes it at some points.
It does.
Like, it's really important at the very end, right? It's really important kind of right in the middle when Rui beats him, and it's really important at the beginning when it's kind of the foundation for like him and the teacher and a lot of other things. But other than like those literal like 3 moments, like beginning, middle, end, it is absolutely like subsidized to everything else that's going on.
It seems like a subplot rather than the main plot.
Yeah, like
I would argue the anime doesn't do much to help itself in that. But even in the main plot, moving over to the Hina stuff, the anime opens up with them having sex because they want the experience to understand what's going on. Like, because Rui's doing it to understand Hina.
Fair. I mean,
it's there. It's not easy to notice on first watch through because the anime is written.
But then that's what I mean. That it's just not well conveyed because, you know, I mean, we're not like Vorn and I haven't watched this like multiple times. Like Vorn and I have literally watched this once under duress, I would say. You know.
Well, yes, but you're not always going to first watch through. I'm not saying it's a well done theming. I'm not saying it was done very well, but that is the theming, and I feel like it's worth giving the attention.
Oh no, that's fair. I'm just saying, like, you know, the anime ruins it.
And the anime ruins a lot of things about the
Yeah.
series.
Exactly.
Yes, no, I would never argue against that.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to at least go on to next section?
Let's go into the next section.
The next section is waifu wars.
Waifu
Waifu wars.
Wars.
Let's start with Nick Nack. Who is your waifu?
Okay, I've got a bit of a complicated answer. First off, waifu is absolutely Marie, but because this is a question on the internet that was asked around the time of it coming out, Team Rui versus Team Hina, I'm on Team Rui all the way.
Fuck them both.
Ugh.
Realm Shifter?
I really honestly don't know for this one. Because, like, I don't actually really like that many of the characters. So it's, like, hard for me to make a decision.
That's fair.
Like, I guess if I had to pick one.
I mean, remember, you can also pick side characters, too.
Yeah,
So
I can't remember what her... I can't remember what her one name was.
Which one was it?
It was like the...
Start explaining.
It was like the one weird arc with that...
The Pigtails?
Yes. That,
Oh, Pigtail Girl. Wasn't that Momo?
yeah, Momo.
Yeah,
Momo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So I'd probably pick Momo.
Lordborn?
As I told you, none of the girls, they got changed. But if I had to choose, maybe Momo. But we don't get that much of backstory on her yet. So we don't know her personality and everything else. So
You just get like one scene where it's like kind of sad.
Yeah.
it's a maybe on Momo for me. The rest of the girls are sucky. Besides that, it's just the comedy duo.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't limit myself to a single gender, so Marie, all the way. 10 out of 10. I would
Pretty
marry...
sure Marie doesn't limit.
I would
to
do
a
to
single
Marie.
gender either.
I would do anything for Marie or to Marie.
Was
I
Marie,
love Marie.
was Marie the
Yakuza
the
boss.
Yakuza,
yes.
the
Yeah.
Yakuza,
the ex Yakuza
yeah,
boss.
the ex-Yakuza, who had a surprisingly touching moment of sensitivity near the end.
Wait,
Yeah.
just trying to.
It was precious.
I just want to be sure. Like the ender that like he got at the end of the episode, was that the guy that Marie liked or
Yes.
fell for first?
It was the other.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was.
I didn't. I've never caught that before. Oh my lord.
It's so hard. It's adorable. I love both of them. Oh, they're adorable.
I will say, we don't see much of him at all, but I love the editor.
Yeah, he seems really fun. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I like a lot of the side characters, like a whole lot. Like I like the male teacher. I like the editor. I like Fumiya. I like Marie. Like I really like. Oh, and the dad and the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really like almost everyone outside of the main plot. And I viscerally hate Hina so badly that if she was a real person, I would eviscerate her. Like I'd go Jack the Ripper on her. Out her uterus and string her intestines up like lights around the room after flaying her. I hate her so much. And we are getting into the rest of this section, which is talking about characters, because to me, Marie is like, so, and I saw this in a comment and it pointed it out. And it was really, so Marie is sitting, so Marie is like the classic example of like a jealous sister. Like her younger sister has something.
Mm-hmm.
And Marie wants it because her younger sister has it, but she didn't want it when her younger sister didn't.
Are you sure you're saying the right name right now? Not Hina.
Oh, I
Rudy.
kept saying, I said Marie, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry, but Hina. But she's like a jealous sister. Her younger sister Rui had something she wanted, right? Or had something that she didn't want originally, and because her younger sister had it, she wanted it. Like that's what it looked like happened in the anime. Was that, you know, he liked her and she was like, I'm not into kids. Then as soon as he gets with her sister, she's like, I want you so badly. I can't hold it back anymore.
That's what it seemed like in the anime, anyways.
legitimately so terrible. Like, that makes her such a bad person.
Well, the anime makes a very early point that she is extremely emotionally immature, like right down to remember when the kid gave her the lollipop? That was like a real big moment to show she is not an emotionally mature person. She's not an adult, even though she like commonly looks down on people about that.
I mean, she's having an affair, and the only thing she says to the dude was that, oh, you're just not old enough to understand. No, that's not the thing. Having an affair is not normal when you're an adult. She just doesn't want to deal with the consequences of her actions like an adult. So she like denies them. You know, tells people that they just don't understand because they're not old enough or they just don't get it. No, that's not the case. You're having an affair with a married man who's been essentially kind of lying to you for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, if he really... Sorry, Nick.
Oh, no, go ahead.
It's
an accident, but...
If he really wanted her, he would have divorced his wife like from the beginning. Now that I've talked about Marie, I'll start on Rui.
You mean Hina?
Yes.
You keep saying Marie.
Wow, I am so messed up here. This is like...
I'd actually like to say the emotional immaturity thing. You say that you don't like any of the main cast, and none of the main cast are emotionally mature. Like, everybody around them has largely grown up, except for the friends. But besides them, and another thing about why I think the main cast suffers the most in this is because the side characters don't exactly have arcs to speed through and mess up. So they're stagnant at their best. The main characters are being sped along arcs that are like they're being sped along their arcs. Things are being skipped. That's why they come off as the most irrational and stupid, which they are stupid in this anime.
I was gonna say though, I think that...
Oh god damn it.
Oh, it's fine. It's popped up like 6 times already.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, so I've been talking about Hina a lot and her emotional immaturity. And obviously, like, Rui isn't really mature either. Neither is the guy. None of them are really doing so hot. And obviously Momo isn't, and she admits it in a way, which is almost more admirable because she knows that she's attention seeking just to get the attention out of it, which I actually like her character because of that. She's almost self-aware in a way. But I will say that I think, like, when I talk about, like, my 3 favorite characters, which are Fumiya, Marie, and the teacher, the male teacher. And when you look at, like, the male teacher compared to Hina, who's also a teacher, like, there is such a stark difference between him and her and, like, how mature he is and, like, the fact that he is not going to do what Hina did, right? Because the leader of the literature club, she likes him. Right? But he's not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, maybe not yet. We don't know.
Well, not until she's out of school at the very least, you know? Which is the whole point. So it's really interesting because the main cast of characters are just like, no matter who you are looking at them, you go, oh, they are stupid and immature. Right?
Yep.
Like, all of us thought that. And the entire, like, subcast is all, like, so put together and so, like, on top of their shit.
Yeah.
You know?
It just makes everyone else seem like
worse.
Yeah.
And they're kind of better fleshed out, I feel, than like the main cast.
Despite having less actual development given to them. It feels like that as standalone characters, they already have better heads on their shoulders than the rest of the main cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that they're more fleshed out in terms of the amount of time we've seen them, but the things they talk about, like in their past and stuff, are fully explained and fleshed out. So what we do know of them is completely logical and sounds perfectly good to us, you know? Like, it doesn't sound like, you know, he paid me attention in college and we started an affair and it's been 2 years and I just can't, I'm waiting for him to leave his wife. Well, none of the side casts are going to do that.
Right.
At the same time, I think that also could be a matter of perception in that they're not characters we're following on any deeper level, so we don't see their flaws.
Yeah.
And that's fairly realistic too.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying that any of them are saints. I mean, but it's
no. Yeah, no, I get it.
Contrast.
Yeah.
I like to point out, like, the researcher professor guy, the guy that freaking Hino was actually having an affair with. I hate his ass. He has the same he has the same thought process as me, but all of his ideals are exact opposite. He's like the fucking evil clone. I hate him.
Yeah, he's
God
so...
damn.
That's maybe the one exception, because I consider him subcast. I don't see him as main cast.
Yeah,
guys
he's pretty
he's up there with.
subcast even in the grand scheme of things.
So I will say this, having read farther in the manga, I hate him even more.
Yeah, but I think he's the one exception to the subcast being generally more mature and more put together in our perception, because he is just a sack of shit. He is a sack of shit.
He's a sack of manipulating shit.
Yeah, like he's sitting there going, "Oh well, I'm going to leave my wife for you," and he was never going to do it on her account.
Yeah.
Like never. He was never going to do it. He had a good thing going. He had a wife, he had a good job, and he had a hot lady to fuck on the side. He was never going to stop that.
Yeah.
And the fact that and that's one of the things I hate about Hina's character is she dumps him and she makes such a quick turnaround.
A seemingly quick turnaround.
Yeah, like
anime, fucking hell.
It's a terrible showing in the anime. Like I'm not speaking towards the manga. I didn't read it. We're not reviewing it. But in the anime, it just makes her look even worse, because then it looks like she's wasted 2 to 3 years of her time crying and obsessing over something that was actually quite trivial, because she gets over it so fast.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't mean to judge other people's feelings or generalize, but from what I gather, that kind of heartbreak should take a little longer to get over and leave some emotional issues. I'd say if she was really that connected.
Yeah, and also seemed like she switched over to the new guy almost like how many days? Like fucking.
Yeah, it was like 2 days. Or something.
No, that's I guess the other main issue with this show is that it doesn't pace time well at all.
Yeah.
That last episode was over the course of like a month and a half.
Yeah, it's utter bullshit. I mean, the length of this show does a disservice to a lot of its characters, but they were already bad, a lot of them. Yeah. So it just makes them worse.
So if they, seriously, like I said, if this was a 24-episode anime, I think it would have done much better.
I feel like if I had like some more episodes on Hina, then maybe I wouldn't hate her so much. Like if I had at least like a reason for when she did anything, but I don't have that reason at all. Like to me, she's just a manipulative little cunt that was willing to get into a relationship with one of her students and didn't see it as wrong that it was the one that her little sister was in love with.
And also her brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although not biologically, but still, that's fucked up.
I mean, that comment by Rui was golden. It's not like we're related by blood or anything.
No chromo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I get all those times that you referenced that. I know you were talking about it in regards to Eromanga Sensei, but I get it in regards to this.
No, that was in regards to this.
About it in regards to this.
Oh, well.
Really?
I get it. I mean, Knick-Knack, do you have any further? I mean, do you have any specific thoughts that I maybe didn't cover?
On like the main cast here?
No, just on characters in general,
Okay, she wasn't one of my... Momo, I love that there's a lot that's shown but not told.
Yeah.
Like, you can, like, you get a bit of backstory on her parents. You see the scars on her arm, and the character puts, not so, and this is one of his better moments, puts together what's going on, but it largely leaves the audience to figure it out themselves. She's depressed, seeking other people for
attention,
companionship, but only knowing how to do that via
sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it got to her at one point, so she tried to kill herself.
I will say one thing about Momo that I really liked was when they were talking about grades, and they were talking about like, oh, I see your grades up on the tops list all the time. Yeah. And she was, sometimes they drop, and she was like, well, yeah, it's hard to study when I'm trying to like keep a relationship, which means that like, she sees relationships as something that she has to put so much effort into to keep, so much that it's a detriment to the rest of her life. But then she's like, but when I'm not in a relationship, I have so much time, is that obviously she is easily capable of like good grades. She's intelligent, but she's so emotionally damaged that she feels like a relationship is something that she has to put 3,000% into at the detriment of her own life.
Right.
Yeah, and that kind of what made me like her. It's like you pity her, and you also kind of hope that she's better, and that's also kind of like with the fate thing as well.
Right.
Yeah. Like she's adorable. Like I would adopt her. If she was one of my friends, I would become Mama Seki and be like, all right, you're staying at my house and I'm feeding you and I love you and you're never gonna have to do that again.
And Nick Nack already said this, I think, but I will repeat it as well, but it is not so one of not so's actually better moments because he actually realizes what's going on, even if he doesn't fully know the extent of it.
Also, and he makes the conscious choice to not have sex with her and to instead make her food and be genuine friends with her.
Right.
Here's the problem, though. That kind of breaks it for him as well, because here's the thing. The rest of the time, he's shown as dumb, idiot, and fucking wishy-washy. And this time, he's shown as mature, fucking smart. And it's like, wait, what the fuck is he then?
Well, situationally stupid.
Yes.
Well, situationally mature.
But I would argue most high schoolers are emotionally mature.
Yeah, I mean,
we're mature until we're not.
Yeah, I mean, I would pose the question to you, like, Vorn, if you had a friend, and they were, like, seeking companionship or something, and you put 2 and 2 together and you realized that something bad was going on, like, you wouldn't make that decision to just, like, sleep with them and ignore it. Like
no, I would let them sleep in my house and, like, freaking, then we'd become buddy-buddy and
like, that's... I like it because of what it shows for Natsuo's character, but at the same time, it's also what a lot of people would regard as just kind of intuitive. Like, honestly, if he had continued, like, either sleeping with her or just left her, I would have probably stopped watching the show at that point and exercised my right to just not participate in the discussion. Yeah. Just because to me that would have been so abhorrent. Because I've seen it happen.
I think the show made that's what happens 99% of the time. That's what happened to her multiple other times.
Yeah, which is terrible. And I mean, I feel for her. It's a really good way of, like,
wasn't
showing
there also, like, supposedly she almost got raped and stuff like that as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will also say, as much as the main cast suffers from this, just laying it all out there, I think most of the main cast are stupid, but also I can at least understand where everybody except for Hina is coming from. I think he's the one who is most unequivocally the irredeemable, like, without excuse, irredeemable in that situation. Natsuo and Rui have the excuse of they're young, they're high schoolers. High schoolers tend to be morons.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not expecting the two of them to be incredibly mature. Hina, I would have expected better out of. That's partially why I hate her so much, because she's just... she's a terrible human being. And I mean, I get it, but she's a terrible human being.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's shown multiple times throughout the show, and they don't make a point of hiding it.
No, and they make a really good point of that what she got was fully deserved. Yeah. Like, they don't ever say she didn't deserve this. No, it fully makes a point of she absolutely deserved it.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I think with that we can move on to any tropes that we might have identified or seen. I mean,
okay, Seki. Have at it.
I mean, we'll for sure start with harem.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Then I'll go with tsundere.
Oh, yes.
Right? Yeah. A couple of other dares, I can't identify them because I don't know all the dares by name.
Probably. I think Dairy is
Dairy is just
Dairy.
Yeah. Then probably Kudere or, like, what was the other one? It's Dandere.
Yeah. So some deres, there was some harem plots. Obviously, we saw the school trip, right? And we saw the whole school festival kind of thing play out, even though they were both very, very small.
Swimsuit episode.
Cafe.
I'm kind of glad they skipped through that.
Yeah. Oh my God. I had a comment. So they were visiting all the girls' sports clubs, and I was sitting there watching it. I was like, wow, they hit all the high points. Women's volleyball showing their thighs, women's tennis showing their panties, and women's swimming showing their swimsuits. They really hit all of the 3 high points, which are volleyball, tennis, and swimming.
Exactly. I just want to comment real quick on how they discovered Hina and Natsuo.
Oh God!
Oh,
Whatever
yeah.
phone camera that kid had, I want that phone camera.
No, I think that was saying like they actually have professional photographer.
No, they had a professional
Yeah.
photographer. It's
Yeah.
like a really.
They don't say it in the anime, but in the manga, that book club taking the photo, so they had a professional camera taking
Yeah.
that photo for their trip.
That was an amazing photo. I also noticed
Why is it clean there?
there's the cafe.
Who knows?
The cafe trope. There's the wise man at the cafe trope. There's the wise gay man trope.
Yeah. There's
the wise
funny
teacher trope.
Yes.
The funny fat man trope.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really just have a go, say a trope. I could probably tell you where it was.
Yeah. Almost.
Like it was.
I kind of like that it plays with the much,
Yeah.
though. Not gonna lie, because
That was
Yeah.
like, here's the thing. I kind of compared the show to Nisekoi in terms of like how the plot went, but like how they did the plot in this one was horrible, and like it really also didn't fit my taste because also there's a lot of NTR and like fucking it here. Let's just say that. Good enough.
okay.
Sick-
Well, one thing I should bring up real quickly is that Warren is uncomfortable with sex on screen. You should have seen him while watching Castlevania Season 3, but we'll get to that eventually, maybe another time.
Yeah, but so sixth character, right?
Yeah.
Newly married parents trope.
Oh,
Sex
sex of sick character.
with sick character
I
trope.
think.
Sexual acts with
Yeah.
otherwise incapacitated character.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. God, that was disturbing.
Yeah.
So many levels.
Yeah.
But side of that one, though, I found that for all the faults the show had, I never had a problem with the fact that there was a harem there because, frankly, I feel like they handled a lot of the animism side of a few select ones, the suppository.
Yeah, I mean the harem wasn't so bad, arguably. I mean that
Yeah.
was par for course.
Yeah.
It was a soap opera romance. We knew it was going to be some sort of harem or three-way or triangle.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So that wasn't. I mean, they played to it. There was certainly a confusion.
Oh wait, no. What one trope we don't have? Dense character trope.
Oh yeah, that too.
No, we didn't have it.
No, we had that in spades.
Yeah, they're all dense.
Yeah. They're all dense, but not like dense.
What was it?
Yeah.
When the guy she's having an affair with just goes, but the way Natsuo looked at you, he's in love with you, and she goes, nah. And then 2 days later, anime time, Natsuo, I want to fuck you. Natsuo, please take a bath with me.
Fuck no, can we just stop that now?
Sorry. Okay.
This is bringing back bad memories.
I
That was
shall.
Stomach
later, by the
funny
way.
memories.
I shall cease and desist. Just like Hina didn't.
Actually, we might want to speed this up. We're pretty freaking.
Yeah.
We're going long.
This is
So,
long.
but I mean, I don't think we really need to talk in depth about any of the tropes in particular because there weren't any complex ones and there weren't really any that were like hidden or hard to point out.
Yeah.
Right, Nick Nack?
Yeah, none of them really dominated the show. Even the worst ones were like brief and momentary.
Yeah. Which, you know what, that somehow made them slightly better for me. I actually hate it when tropes go on for like so long without any development. So like
Yeah.
fluctuating tropes was slightly better.
Mhm.
But having said that, let's move into our kind of free talk final thoughts. So we'll go around and anything we haven't said so far we'll, express. So let's start with Nick Nack.
Okay, so one thing I need to express that my absolute love for that I will never stop liking about this show. The one scene where Rui grabs his balls on accident and they switch to a hand-drawn scribble art style. It looks like something I could produce.
Yeah, that was funny.
That's.
But, yeah, no, outside. I
Restart
have-
your sentence? Sorry.
Sorry, oh, my internet's cut out a little bit. I'm going to wait for the notification to go away. Okay, it's gone. Side of, there's obviously a lot of bad here. I could not, in good conscience, call this a good show. I think at best I can call this a show that I appreciate for what it tries and fails miserably to do.
That is far more generous than I would ever have been.
Yeah.
Realm Shifter.
Honestly, I've said most of my piece in this show. It's meme tier for me. I will probably actually read the manga because it will at least give some semblance of character development to me. I give it a Rui head out of 5 spicy ghost peppers.
Vorn.
We here's the thing, they don't focus that much on backstory of the main characters. They focus more on the backstory of like freaking side characters. They freaking like personality changes between the characters, as we said before. Time is like what the fuck?
Relative. Time is relative. It's a big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
Yes. Hold on. I want to actually just make a quick semantic change to my score. A pouting Rui head out of 5 ghost peppers.
All right then.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yes.
I hate the fucking characters. I'm sorry. I hate most of them. The comedy was nice when there was comedy. Fucking hell. The music.
Shut up, Nick Nack!
The uses of music was very good, but like how they used it, that was very nice. But okay, now I'm just going to get my rating now. For everything that did good, it was good, but the rest dragged down so goddamn much that fucking hell, I'm going to give this a fucking 0 out of 10, and I feel kind of sorry for the author. Like their work turned into this. So yeah.
I think, so for me, I harped on this to Nick Nack because we were on a video call when I was watching it. But I think my biggest complaint about the entire show, and this is probably in regards to the manga too, is that I really wish that Rui hadn't been a possible love interest. Because I feel like there were times when she and Natsuo had such amazing sibling development and sibling like discourse that I would have actually liked this show probably if they had turned into like an intense sibling bond and left it with like Momo and maybe Hina and maybe like one other female character that's not part of the family. That I think was my biggest complaint, was I felt like it was like they were fluctuating between, oh, this is an adorable brother-sister, duo. Oh, this is a sexual duo,
Yeah.
But I mean, given that, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone I know because I don't know if anyone I know would enjoy it. I definitely won't be rewatching this at any point.
Oh.
And I have no real interest to read the manga either at this point. So a perfect trio there. 0 out of whatever rating system. It doesn't matter. It's still a 0.
Man, no kind of subtlety whatsoever. 0 or all or nothing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What I would maybe like is like maybe a what if anime with just Natsu and Momo. That might have been actually much more
cute.
Better and cute.
That would be adorable.
I will pause
hentai-ness.
counter argument I gave to Seki when she said that yesterday on the video call. They kind of started the series with them fucking. That was the setup from go. I don't think there was ever any intention.
But there were moments between the two of them where it looked like their characters could have like been written in a way to like kind of put that as water under the boat and continue as a sibling rivalry. And they just, every time they steered near that, they were just like, no. But with that being said, that is all of our final thoughts. So we're going to draw the next animes. And we're actually going to draw 2 from now on every other week since we are quarantined and cannot leave our homes or do anything. And I need something to do.
Roll in the wheel and smash it against something realm, or I'm going to smash it in your face.
Man, his fake hat metaphor is making less sense by the day.
Yes! For our first anime that we will be watching, episodes 1 through 11 of Naruto.
All right.
Called it.
Great.
Followed by I Hate You So Much. Fate, 13 through 24.
Thank
this
God.
is the bad fate. Oh no! No!
But, Vorn, look at it the way I do, right? Now that Fate's out of the hat, of the 8 things left, I like 7 of them.
Oh, yeah.
with the exception of Snafu. And you like Snafu.
Yeah.
So there's almost nothing to worry about for our next draw. And with that being said, try harder, everyone.